What's going on, people? This is your boy DJ A-Ron alongside my brother, as always, Cornbread. And right now we got a special guest in the building. And though a lot of times I like to introduce people, but Antonio, I'm going to give you the honors right now, brother. So, Antonio, why don't you tell us who we're here with and what we dealing with, man, and why you got your tight shirt on. You didn't ask me.
Hey.
You ain't asked me to wear my tight shirt, bro. So you got your tight shirt on. You see,
this the muscle episode. What you talking about, man? First off, man, hey, all the listeners, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, www.asquaredpodcast.com. Also sponsored by Wolf Maine Beer Care. Shout out to those people. We always have family on this show, man. I got another brother that I had to bring on here. He's a wealth, a plethora of knowledge, and he's the muscle man, bro. So we got to unpack all that. We have bodybuilder Andrew Johnson. What's up, man? Talk to the people.
Andrew, what's going on?
How you guys doing?
Good.
Good, bro.
Yeah, man.
We did, but for every show, man. First off, we want to thank you for coming on the A Square podcast. But for the listeners out there and for us, please tell us, like where you grew up, and then start off with your background. And we got questions after that, man.
I appreciate you guys having me on. First, I want to say that Chip Chung was crazy. So I enjoyed watching that. Anyway.
And let's be clear, I won because I ate the chip and I didn't make I didn't
ask AJ. Ask him. Ask him who won. Ask him who won,
bro.
Man.
Who won?
Let the fans decide.
That's
Let the fans decide.
Fair enough. So continue, my brother. Where you from? What you got going on?
Yeah, again, I appreciate you guys having me. I born and grew up in Jamaica. Originally from Jamaica. Born in Kingston. But I have family in different parts of Jamaica. I grew up in Kingston in this part of Jamaica called Westmoreland, which is more of the country area. So, my parents came here, migrated to the United States when I was a kid, to start a life for a better opportunity. So, they left me behind, and I have aunts, uncles, that took care of me. So I was back and forth between Kingston and Westmoreland. So, I lived in both places. So, and, after I left Jamaica, came to the United States, finished high school here in the U.S., which was coming to the United States was a pretty big change. It was a shock for me. And the school system was a little bit different also. We can talk about that a little bit later too.
We're going to unpack all that.
Yeah, but I grew up, came here, went to high school here. After high school, went to college. at Missouri Valley College, a little college in the Midwest. Graduated. After I graduated, I went to the military. I did 10 years in the military. Got to the military, little after I got there, a year later, the war kicked off, and, things went on. I got the military. Parents had a restaurant in Kansas City, so I got out to help them. Economy took a turn, that a little after I got out, and, we had to make some tough decisions. So, we had to end up closing the restaurant. But, that was another experience for us also. And ended up here in Georgia somehow. And here I am with you.
I love it, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what was it? So what was it like growing up? Because your brother is Sean Kingston. Am I correct? Your brother is Sean Kingston. And I just want to know, what was it like when he said young girls? What was that like? Just kidding. But seriously, what was when you mentioned, the difference in schooling? Mm-hmm. What are some of those differences from somebody coming from Jamaica to the United States? What are some of those differences that you saw?
Well, where I went to school, The best way I can describe it, it was a lot like it was militant, you know.
Mm.
We had to line up in the morning. The uniform had to be pressed clean. We wear uniforms. Transition from there to the U.S. I went to public. There was no uniform. Just the behavior of the kids in the school. How they talk to the teachers. We couldn't speak back to our teachers.
And what would happen if you did?
We'll get a lashing. Honestly, we'll get a lashing.
Yeah.
I remember. You go up. They call you to the. We call it chalkboard, and they give you like a math problem. To solve, and if you didn't get it right, you'll get a lashing.
Damn.
Yeah, so it was a little different, but that's how it was at that time. I think over time it changed a little bit, but when I grew up, that's the way it was. Coming here to the United States, it was just seeing how just kids interact with their teachers, how they can speak back to them, and that was like, what, you said that to your teacher? You didn't know there's no whippings, so
Yeah.
but and then the uniform thing, it was a public school, so everybody wear basically whatever they wanted. At that time there was no real dress code, and back where I came from, we had a dress code. Even going to recess, you come back. I remember when I was young, going to recess, we had to take our shirt off and leave it so it wouldn't get sweaty, because when you come back, you get expected, and if your uniform is all dirty and messed up,
Mhm.
that's another punishment. So it was. I don't want to make it sound like it was, all bad and terrible. It wasn't. There was. We learned. The education was. A little bit stricter. There, I think, than here also. So,
Before I get into the question that I want to ask, can you please tell the listeners out there what's so great about Jamaica, man? Everybody likes to take trips out there, ball out, take excursions and stuff, but big up Jamaica, please, for the listeners out there.
Yeah, I think why people like Jamaica is basically the people. I think the people make Jamaica who it is, what it is. I think for the most part the people are friendly, they are welcoming, and uh, you know, and everybody there is just trying to make a living. There's no middle class anymore. There's this upper and lower class. And really that's it. So if if you're living well off, you're good, and if you're not, then it's a struggle. So people are generally nice. They're generally kind-hearted. And tourism is where Jamaica makes its money. That's our biggest cash crop is in tourism. But and the island is beautiful. The food, and just the landscape. I think me growing up there, I didn't appreciate it until I left and went back. And that's when I
Right.
really saw the beauty. Growing up, I didn't really see the beauty because I see it every day. But when I left there, and then I went back years later, then I was like, wow, I see what people are really talking about now. Yeah.
I would like to know, speak more about obviously your journey coming from Jamaica to America, where I think we had a conversation. You said, "Hey, man, there's white Jamaicans, black Jamaicans, Asian Jamaicans, light Jamaicans, dark. It didn't matter. Everybody's Jamaican, right? That's our
Right.
country."
Right.
And then obviously coming over to America, there ain't none of that. It's
Right.
racism, segregation, all this stuff. So can you tell us a little bit about how that segregation, that culture shock affected you, or what did you see when you came over?
Yeah. So growing up in Jamaica, I didn't really experience the racism, or even see color. Like Conburn said, we have Chinese Jamaican, Indian Jamaican, white Jamaican. you know, all different, it's a big mixture of different people, and they all have the same accent, you know. We all
Really?
talk the same, yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I didn't see, you know, a black, white, or Chinese. I just saw people, and for who they are. So when I came here and I started, like I said, I went to finish high school here and I started learning about history and, the slavery and the racism and all that. It was a big shock, and because that's not what I grew up with. So that
Right.
I learned when I came here, all that, and just seeing all you know, the civil unrest and all that stuff that's going on now. It's still kind of, it's still something to get used to. I pride myself in getting along with everybody because I don't really judge people until they give me a reason to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I pride myself in I can get along with anybody because I grew up around a lot of different people, and that's how it is.
I love it.
Yeah.
One thing that you brought up is you served the military, served your country.
Yeah.
How is that if you grew up in a different country and you were born in a different country? How does that work where you can serve America, but you grew up somewhere else?
Yeah. So
Was that ever a question?
So yeah, after I graduated college, it's really a decision. It's like, man, I have a degree. Now what? I always want to go in the military. I remember as a young kid, I had like a whole bunch of those green army.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
I had those, and
I wish I could find I wish I could find mine. You just sit them
yeah,
down and aim.
yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could find
Yeah.
mine.
So I would play. I would play with those, and I always admire people in uniform, and that's something I always want to do. So, after college, I was speaking to a recruiter, and I made the decision in joining the military. I wasn't a citizen of the United States yet, but I had my green card.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
I was under the impression that one would have to have, their citizenship to serve. But yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. So you
No.
didn't have your citizenship; you just had your
Yeah, I
regular
just had my
visa.
residential alien card. That's what they call it. My green
Right.
card. And I got my citizenship after I got into the military some years later. But yeah, that's how I got in. I wanted to go to OCS, which is officer candidate school, to become an officer. But there, you have to be a citizen to even get into that school. At that time I wasn't a citizen, so I didn't end up going. But yeah, even the test you take to get into the military is in different. They have it in different languages, so
Yeah.
you don't have to. You don't necessarily have to be a citizen. A lot of the guys I met in the military, they wasn't American born. They was from different countries. They was like me. A lot of them had their green card. End up getting their citizenship while they was in the military years later.
And what part of the military did you serve in?
I was in Germany. I was stationed in Germany for the most part. I was infantry, so I was in Germany.
What branch? Say your branch, man.
Yeah.
Army.
What's your branch?
Army.
Army.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what's the years? I'm not trying to put your age out there or nothing like that. I just say give me a roundabout. Give me a roundabout.
2000 to 2010, I said.
So the 2000s.
2000.
Okay, all right.
So this is before 9/11 then.
Yeah, this is before I got into 9/11 and 2001. That's when stuff happened.
You probably thought he was going to be, man. This is going to be a walking cat. Let me get this U.S. citizenship real quick. Yeah,
but
wrong country. You should have stayed in Jamaica, boy, because it's crazy here now.
You go to the military and you know what you signed up for. There's always that potential that you may have to go to war, and it happens. So, we did what I had to do.
So being in the military, is that something where it made you conscious of your body, taking care of it, or is that what got you into weights and what,
No,
like, kind of what was that transition like?
no, I've always been active. You know, I'll tell you a quick story. You know, growing up in Jamaica, we didn't really have um, all that luxury of public transportation and cars where I live. You know, in the rural parts. You know, so most of the places that I go would have to walk or run. You know, even going to school, I would it would be miles and miles I have to walk to school. You walk to school in the morning. You get up. First, you have to get up and move the cows and the goats. Yeah, we had to do that. You know, we had cows and goats. You know, that's how.
Wow.
You do that in the morning. Then you come back and you get ready for school, and you walk to schools. You know, we always walk in groups. You know, and then in the evening, you walk back home. But after coming to the States, even when I came to the States, my parents would send me to the store and I would just walk to the store because it was just so natural. I would just run to the store, it was just so natural. I didn't have a car until I got into college. My first car was in college, right? Most kids at 16 in high school, they're driving to school.
Facts. Facts.
So, I walked, but I was always active. I did track and field, in high school and college. And I was always, I wasn't into the weights because I really didn't know the science behind it. I would go to the weight room, but didn't really know what I was doing, right? You just here and there, you live here, you live there. The coach wasn't that knowledgeable about weights anyway. So you would just go. But, after, so I was always into it before I got into the military. And after I got into the military, after I finished track, I started just learning about lifting and the science behind it, and what certain lift and certain movement does, and my body respond to it, because it was doing track and field. It was hard to put on a lot of mass because I'm always running, So I was maybe 175, 180 when I was in, that was my heaviest. I'm about 240 right now, so it's a big jump, but I just kind of learned the science behind it. And of course I had, just talking to different people who's in the gym and, they've done bodybuilding and, just listening and soaking up the knowledge. And that's really how I learned. Yeah.
So let's fast forward to, Antonio, I don't want to cut you off. Just saying, when we're talking about learning the science, you're talking about bodybuilding, nutrients, what to eat, what not to eat. What part of that did you start first? Like, did you say, okay, I need to eat better. I need to make sure I'm doing X, Y, and Z. Like, how did that come apart?
I think, being Jamaican, when we cook, it's always a lot. It's always a lot of food. I'm always around food. And then my family, the older generation, they wasn't so health conscious, and I would see them,
and they want you to eat more. Here, have more, eat more.
It's like there's something wrong with you. Are you sick? No, I'm just not hungry. I'm good. But the older generation, they wasn't as health conscious as the newer generation. Like my cousin now. So we had some big people in our family, and I would see them like, at that time I really didn't understand, but in my mind I said I don't want to get like that. So I was always aware of what I was eating and not to overeat, and I think that's where it really started as being young and just seeing my family, so I kind of say, hey, I didn't want to be like that, Now they're trying to change their lifestyle now, which I'm proud of, that they're doing it. But back then it wasn't. Their health wasn't as mainstream as it is today. You don't see all those you didn't see a lot of those commercials like you're seeing now, and all the diets and stuff. It wasn't. And in Jamaica, we we eat. That's just how it is, especially around family. You know.
I think it's a
Mm-hmm.
generational thing. One of our movies that Antonio and I would say we grew up on was a movie
Right.
called Soul Food.
Right.
We grew up
Right.
on Soul Food. During Soul Food, the most important thing
Right.
was
Sunday
family
dinners.
Right.
and the
Sunday dinners.
gatherings.
Right.
Sunday dinner. Big Mama's leg was about to
Right.
get cut off because she was
Right.
doing
Right.
too much. And to
Yeah.
celebrate, they ate more.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They ate more. So I think it's a generational thing because I see like certain people in my family, I see them trying to turn the corner. It's like, okay, we're not going to eat as much fried foods. We're going to eat baked foods, or we're going to eat more more greens, more this, that, and the third, So I think it was a generational thing too.
So I think you're asking me a question that I didn't answer is what part did I learned first, was it lifting or so the lifting part, I would, and I see a lot of that today still, like, people just go to the gym and they lift, but not really know exactly what they're doing. I kind of learned what certain the signs of lifting. It's not just going and just throwing up the weight and thinking your body's going to change. And lifting too is not just in the gym; it's outside of the gym also. With what you do when you leave the gym, how you take care of yourself when you leave the gym, as far as what you're putting in or what you don't put in your body. How much rest you get, and so all of that plays a part in the overall health. The overall change in the body.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would like to know, because bodybuilding is its own separate genre, man. It's a big culture out there, but it's still kind of a small culture, kind of like battle rap, right? Like inside of battle rap is huge, but a lot of people don't know about it.
Right.
So for our listeners out there, can you do the best you can and break down what bodybuilding is, and then what are some of the leaders of that movement? Like, who did you watch growing up, or who'd you look up to, or say, okay, that's the alpha right there, he's the number one man. So just tell people a little bit so they can try to do some research on it.
Yeah, so bodybuilding is like Antonio said, it's it's a world within itself. If you're in it, when you go to a bodybuilding competition, most of the time you see the same people, because it's not really that, that big. It's getting bigger now. But it's the same, competing about this amongst the same people, because that's who you see. But bodybuilding, you go on stage and you have 5 or 6 judges that judge you on your physique and how you look. And it's not just the muscle. The muscle is a part of it. How much, and there's a lot of different categories also, right? So you have open bodybuilding, and then you have the physique bodybuilding, and then you have the fitness. So the physique the physique is just it's a new thing, really, that just got introduced to bodybuilding. And the physique is for people who wants to bodybuild but not big enough to compete with the bodybuilders, right? So they have this category, which is physique, and so the physique part of it is, how can I explain it? So you have some that wear just shorts and they judge just your upper body, right? So you have shorts that don't judge your legs, and they have the classic physique where you wear like the a little shorter shorts, and you see the legs, they judge you on the legs, and the upper body also. Now you have the open bodybuilding, where you guys might know, like Ronnie Coleman, and that name right there. He's an open bodybuilder, so they judge everything. The muscle mass, definition, how dry you come in, how conditioned you are. So it's a lot of things that you get judged on. It's not you just go up there and just stand there. There's a posing routine. Also, there's 7 mandatory poses that you have to do that they judge you on. It's a lot that goes into preparing for a show. When you're preparing for a show, it's a lonely road sometimes, if you don't have people around you who understand what you're doing, or even if you're with someone, that doesn't understand bodybuilding and how it works, because you have to become a little bit selfish, because it's all about you, it's all about you. Everything revolves about you right now when you're getting ready for a show, with it, however long you take to prepare for that show. So
can you unpack some of that? Like, what's some examples of where it's all about you?
So like just for the diet, there's certain diets when I'm preparing for a show, I don't go out to eat. All my meal is prepared. If you're with somebody who, want to go out to eat, they might say, "Hey, let's go out to eat." And like, well, now I can't go out. I'm preparing for a show, or I prepare my own meal, so I know exactly what goes in there. If you live with somebody, they might not understand, or they might not like how you eat. Because honestly, it's not the most glorious food. When I'm getting ready to prepare for a show, my diet is either chicken breast or fish, rice, and vegetables. That's really it. And there's not too much seasoning that goes into it. I use Mrs. Dash, which really don't have any sodium. Yeah, and that's basically it. So you have to be rested. So sometimes if they want to go to a movie or whatever, or go out just to have fun, you can't do it because you have to get your rest, because you have to go to the gym the next day to get the workout in. If you want to look good on stage, and then there's certain times you may have to reduce your carbohydrates. Now, me, it doesn't change my mood, but for some people, it may change their mood, how they act. Low carbohydrate affect your mood sometimes. If and you're energyless, you're just tired. They have a saying that when you look the strongest on stage, that's when you're the weakest.
Right.
So you may look good on stage, but those guys are really, really struggling up there sometimes. There's,
So is that the same? So is that? No, I don't mean to cut you off, but I got to take what you said and think about this. When you go to the gym and you see somebody that's big up top and they're very small in their legs, now, could that potentially mean that they could have a mean kick? Because if you think about what you just said, they could be a little stronger with their legs, if you will.
So you say somebody with a big upper body?
I know you go to the gym and you see the people with small legs. And you're like, yo, you didn't do it right. Like you said, the carbohydrates, sometimes that change your mood. You look stronger. You look like you're strong, but you might be at your weakness. So maybe some of those people with those little legs might be stronger than you big brothers. They might be big up top.
At a certain time, if you want to fight them, like, go ahead, kick my ass, man. Today you got me. There's times, when, depends on how far you have to go. You go to the gym and you're energyless, but you have to get through the workout anyway, so you have to put yourself.
No doubt.
So sometimes it's more for mental than physical thing too. You have to take yourself to that place, and you have to take your body to that place if you want to, if you want to do good, if you want to look good on stage. It's a science behind it, because certain foods affect your body different ways. So what food affects my body may not work for your body, So, you have to figure out what foods, that I can eat that carb me up, that make me look fuller, make me look bigger when I get on stage, because if I don't eat the right thing, I'm gonna call what they call flat. I may be defined, but I'm not big. Yeah. So it's a science to it. How much water you drink. I start cutting my water, and if I have a show on a Saturday, I start cutting my water that Wednesday. So I may have, 8 ounce of water, the next 2 days, and that's gonna last me for 2 days. So I just have to sip it just to keep my mouth wet.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So, it's a science behind it, and but when you see what you can do, where you can take your body from one place to another, it's rewarding.
To the listeners out there, we are talking with Andrew Johnson, man. He's a bodybuilder. This is the A Square podcast. You ready to get to the shits, man? I'm ready, man. You ready, AJ?
Let's get it. Let's go.
What confidence level do you have to go on stage in a thong, bro? We need to. You got to unpack this, bro, because even though with all these muscles you got on a thong, though, bro. So that takes a lot of confidence, and
and who's oiling yo? Who's
the oiler, bro? Where's that application at? What's going
on? In our world, we call those posing trunks. We don't call them thongs.
Oh, okay, all right.
We call them
okay.
Posing trunks. It's funny because I think for most of those guys who get on stage, they're comfortable up there. I know for me, and in certain areas, I'm pretty shy, but when I get on stage, it's like I'm comfortable, and I'm not nervous. I'm not, I'm just comfortable on the stage, performing, and it's kind of weird saying that, I'm shy in certain things, like when I work out, I'm covered up. I'm always wear sweatshirt and sweatpants. Always been like that since I started lifting. And if I don't have it on, I feel kind of weird. But and again, this might sound weird, is to not draw attention to me, because I don't like too much attention. But when I get on stage, it's a different thing, Your internal organs get bigger too, and a lot of these bodybuilders in their heart, is oversized, and the stuff they're putting in their heart just can't handle it. So I'm seeing a lot of, I'm talking about young male and females. There was a female a couple of months ago. She was like 25.
Damn.
And, there was a guy. Actually, there was a guy that was he was in the military. He used to compete in Mr. Olympia. He was like 40, 42, 43. Just died. So it's a lot. But it's been around for a long time. But the difference, I believe, is how they're using it. These guys, they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger every year. And they're putting more and more stuff in their body. I was watching Ronnie Coleman, and he was talking about it. And they went and got to the doctor and get blood work and get tested just to make sure everything was intact. I'm not sure if these guys are getting tested and make sure their system is running that the way it should. So there's a lot of deaths that you see in bodybuilding too, which is unfortunate.
Gotcha.
Now I'm gonna ask you a question, because I want to put you on the spot.
All right,
I've been waiting on this one. All right, here we go. When you see a person that might or might not have said, "If you smell what the Rock is cooking," this person may or may not have said that, and you see him getting older and bigger and stronger, and you see videos of him lifting things that maybe a young person that might have used that word.
Dwayne Johnson, or who are you talking about?
Who? Tony Johnson, whatever it is, when you see something like that and you look at the definition and you look at how that person may look, would you say that is natural because of all the hard work that you know that person is putting in, or would you say there's some type of performance enhancement, something that might be going on? You don't want, I don't want you to incriminate yourself and say, hey, it's for sure. I just want you to take a guess, whatever you may think.
Within whatever you do, there's always work you got to put in behind it. You can't just, take whatever and sit on the couch and, and just transform. So whatever you take, you have to put the work in. Now, I can say that, you're as you get older, you can get bigger and look better than if you was younger. And I say that just using me as an example, because right now, I think I'm in the best shape that that I can even remember, that I'm in, and have more muscle mass than I ever have, and so I think you can, not knowing what somebody is doing or not doing, but in Hollywood too, there's a lot of pressure to look a certain way, and
so pressure.
People do certain things to get to that goal. I mean, some of these guys, they can just transform, just like the Marvel movies, Thor and all those movies, they can just go from this look to this look, and of course they may have the best trainers, if you smell what The Rock is cooking, he have 2 or 3 different trainers that he uses, but he puts the work into, and of course they have, no doubt, a dietitian and somebody that cook for him and prepare his meal and make sure his body is getting what it needs, so that's what I'm gonna answer that one.
Got you, man.
There you go.
My last question for you, man. First off, I really appreciate you coming on A Square Podcast, man. You was a day one listener, man. What did you call Aaron? What'd you call him?
No, don't say that.
I just like the chip challenge.
Don't do that.
When you use your hydration method.
I'm listening.
Thank you. It wasn't on purpose. It happened to be pumped into. It was. Let's just say it was a performance enhancement at the moment. Okay.
Yeah, when there was like where the body
pain and gain.
Yeah, of course.
Pain and gain.
Pain and gain. One of the things that was drinking, that they have a lot of vitamins. They have a lot of.
Yeah, he did. So, he did say that. They're also at the strip club too when he said that. So I don't. But the question I would like to ask is we might have a listener out there who's just finishing college, high school, male or female, and they're thinking about going into bodybuilding. So what are some pros and what are some cons in this field that you're in, man, to try to prepare them so that they can navigate through this world, man? I
say learn the basics, as far as working out. It's not always how much weight you put up, it's the form, the technique, all that stuff come into play. So it's not the amount of weight that you throw up that's gonna make you bigger. I don't lift all that much. I do more volume work. I keep the weight that where it's challenging for me, but I'm getting the volume. It's not, and it takes the pressure off your joints and all that stuff. And just being healthy, just being healthy. Don't let it. One thing I could say, don't let it take over your life, because at one point for me, bodybuilding was everything for me. So it took everything. Not in a bad way, but it just consumed a lot, because I was doing about 3 shows a year, and that takes a lot out of you, takes a lot of work. It secluded you from a lot of people. It takes you from, it stops you from doing a lot of things, because you're so strict and you're so focused on it. Don't let it consume you. Still enjoy life, still enjoy life. Know what you're putting in your body, know the foods that you're eating, and and just be smart and healthy doing it, don't, if you know, do your research, right? Know what you're putting in your body. If which I don't condone doing any performance enhancing anything, but if it's something that you decide to do, I would do the research, because some of those things have bad side effects, and it can damage your organs, So just do your research and make sure you know what you're doing, and have fun with it,
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
And so my question would be, after all the accomplishments, after everything that you've been through, you've seen, you've learned from, what is next for you?
Well, right now,
what's the next thing for you?
Hopefully next year, I can do a national show. That's my is to do a national show, and then see where I go from there. Like I said, this is just fun for me. This is something I enjoy doing. I don't put a lot of pressure on myself anymore into doing them. So I'll set a goal. This year was just to try add a little bit more muscle, because it's kind of hard to add muscle when you're dieting, right? When you're dieting down. So this year was just to add a little bit more muscle, and then next year I'll try to do a national level show. I do have clients that I work with, and I try to just give knowledge, from the stuff that I know. I always try to tell people, don't let health be so difficult. It's real simple. You go, you and it's choices. It's choices that you make. In life. If you wanna lose weight, the choices that you make. A lot of people really know what to eat, is just having the discipline to do it.
Facts.
Yeah, a lot of people
Facts.
know. People come to me and say, "Hey, I know I shouldn't be eating this, but I'm eating it anyway." Like, you know know what to eat and what not to eat. It's just having the discipline, just to do it. It's funny because I got a text. Somebody sent me a text, and it was about consistency, and it says one was motivation, and one was discipline. And motivation, if you're somebody who's have to be motivated to do something, it's going to be up and down, kind of like one of them charts that go up and down. And discipline is just even across. You're going to be disciplined to do it. So it's just discipline, man. I think it's just discipline. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
No doubt. Well, I was gonna say, well, listen, man, we appreciate it. I think we need a little round of applause for that, man, because I learned a lot. I think the people out there learned a lot, and again, we appreciate you.
Before you get out of here, man, can we see some muscles or something, man? Show flex for the people, man. Show me something. Look at, bro, do something, bro.
Hey, man, I don't know what to show you, man.
Come on, man. Look at that. Look, show. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Now that's if you smell what the Rock is cooking.
Fun, I enjoy it. You guys are pretty laid back, and I enjoy watching you guys show, man. And what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
So yeah, it was.
Thank you.
This was fun.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Well, again, it's the A Square podcast. We appreciate you, Andrew, for joining us, man, and continue your path. Let us know anything we can do to support, show up for you, whatever we can do. We are down to do that, man. So continue on that journey, and we're here with you, brother.